Hello everybody, it's Julia here from the Highly Sensitive Tarot, and I'm back today with the last in my series of videos for Valentine's Day to sort of mark the occasion. In the last few days I did a self-love spread to join in with the hashtag February Self-Love, and I really enjoyed that. I've also done a reading for couples. And today is a reading for people that are single but looking for love. So, yeah. And I also plan actually to do a little video looking at some of the cups cards in this deck. I've fallen in love with this deck. This is the Robin Wood deck, which all I've done is talk about really for the last couple of weeks. And I've just really fallen in love with it. So I thought, as this is a time of love, I would look at some of the cups cards and how the creator, Robin Wood, intended for these cards to be seen and viewed. She hand painted them, and they are cards of their time. They were created in the 90s, the very early 90s, so they are cards of their time, and they're very pagan, and I just absolutely love them. So I'm going to draw, it will be 9 tarot cards. I've got a little spread that I wrote out for people that are single on Valentine's Day. There'll be 9 cards. And I'm also going to draw a Time Island Wellness card just to start the reading off. So we'll do that now. Okay, so what do we have? Photograph. Looking at your photos, missing you, nostalgia, make new memories. Bless. And at the bottom of the deck, because I do like to look at that, we've got the girl with a snake. Do you know, I don't think that card has ever come out before. Empath and narcissist paradigm, being charmed or used, enable and boundaries. That's really interesting, isn't it? So this is making me wonder whether you are single because of a toxic relationship in the past, perhaps a codependent relationship, one where you may be the empathic person who was charmed or used by somebody with narcissistic tendencies. The paradigm of the empath and narcissist is very interesting, isn't it? Because you know, the empath quite naturally is able to read people and be there for people in ways that they want, and this can often turn into a kind of enabling dynamic with a narcissist, because a person with narcissistic tendencies will kind of feed on an empath, and the relationship just becomes more and more toxic because of that. And so it is very important to have strong boundaries in relationships if you are empathic in any way. It's something that I have suffered with in the past. It's something that I'm very aware of. And I think, I mean, you know, narcissist is a word that we see all over social media these days, and it's very easy to call somebody a narcissist because they might be selfish or thoughtless or a bit of a user, somebody who takes you for granted, who takes other people for granted, somebody who's self-entitled, those kind of things. But that doesn't necessarily mean that somebody has a narcissistic personality disorder, if you like. That's something that is much more rare and quite dangerous and quite toxic. But I think that many of us, you know, being an empath or a narcissist, it's all a scale, isn't it? It's all a sliding scale. And I guess we can all have tendencies. You know, I remember reading about, when I was reading about being an empath and being highly sensitive, that those qualities within yourself, while on the positive side they can be very helpful things, that they can also be a little bit narcissistic, because a person who's very sensitive can be quite self-involved. You know, sensitivity brings about a self-involvement, doesn't it, which some people could interpret as narcissism. So, you know, it's a complicated subject, and I think it's important not to be too quick to judge people as narcissists, because, as I said, it is kind of a sliding scale. But I guess also, if you've been on the receiving end of that behaviour from somebody, you know exactly what I'm talking about, and you will also know how important it is to have strong boundaries in relationships with anybody who has a high degree of self-entitlement. So yeah, and these relationships can often be the hardest to remove yourself from and to leave behind in life and move on, because, you know, narcissists can be very charming. You know, they can really get under your skin. So I don't know whether that's what all this is about, looking at photos, missing you, being nostalgic. But we also have here, make new memories. So we're going to focus on that, because that's what this reading is that you're looking for love. So I shall put those over here, and we'll see how they reflect themselves in this reading. So as I said, I've got 9 cards. Each one is a particular question. So we will go through them one by one and see what we get. I do hope everybody's well. It's a grotty, dull, horrible, freezing cold day in the UK. I just literally cannot wait for the sun to return. So, for the collective, please, for anybody who is single and looking for love at this time, if we could provide some clarity, some possibilities, and things to be aware of. Thank you. So, right. So, first card, this is past influences. And we've got the 2 of Wands. So this is about choice, isn't it? What to do next, planning, anticipating news maybe. What are your next steps? Where are you headed? And this is past influences. So that's interesting, isn't it? Present influences. And we have the Page of Pentacles. The Page of Pentacles for present influences. So this is a stable energy. This is somebody that's quite focused, quite practical, somebody studying. You know, the girl here, she's got a book. She's studying, she's learning how to make her way in this life. So your hopes and dreams. Your hopes and dreams at this time. We have the Queen of Wands. So I think there is a hope for some passion to return into your life. There is the Queen of Wands is quite an extroverted character, isn't she? She's independent, ambitious. There's a seductive and quite magical quality about her, but she's fiery. So if we were looking at your hopes and dreams, I think it would be that some of this energy, this fiery energy, returns into your life. Whether you would like to embody the Queen of Wands energy yourself or meet somebody that has those qualities. But they are certainly your hopes and dreams at this time, because it feels like presently, you know, we've got the Page of Pentacles here, which is a lovely card, but it's not the most dynamic of cards, is it? It's not the most passionate or exciting card. It's a card of starting again, I suppose, isn't it? Starting again with something in your material world. Sort of knuckling down, getting on with it, learning something new, learning how to be in this new life that you found yourself in. So it does feel very much that your past influences were that you were having to perhaps leave something behind to take steps into a new life, that you had some choices, that you didn't know exactly where you were going, where you were headed. I mean, it's nice to have choices, but not if those choices were forced upon you. And perhaps they were. Perhaps you had to leave this toxic relationship. Perhaps, perhaps you had to leave this toxic relationship. There's certainly an anticipation with this card, with the Two of Wands. It's certainly not a depressive energy. You know, he's got his head up, he's looking out to sea, he's holding the world in his hand, he's got his wands. So this is certainly a person who's planning what to do next, what to do with themselves, where to go with their life. But turning his, you know, he's got his back to whatever is behind him. He's waiting to take the next step. And I feel with the Page of Pentacles also, with your present influences, that you're still waiting to take the next step, because, as I said, it's not really a very dynamic energy. It's an energy of learning and, you know, being focused on your goals, having to establish some kind of, you know, maybe some routines in your daily life, having to establish, you know, for some of you, this might even be having to remake your life from the bottom upwards again. You know, excuse me. It's a very positive card. I mean, it's very sweet, isn't it? With the pentacle there, with all the energy coming out of it. And like I said, she's got her book hanging on her belt. So it's a very nice card, but it's not a hugely exciting card, is it? It's just sort of getting on with it. Excuse me. Whereas the Queen of Wands, for your hopes and dreams, is definitely a card of wanting to get out there in life. You know, like I said, either you want to embody these qualities, or you'd very much like to meet a person who represents the Queen of Wands. So for your fears and worries around the possibility of meeting somebody new, of finding new love. Your fears and worries. We have the Four of Pentacles. And the Four of Pentacles is it's a kind of rigid, isn't it, and constrained energy. It's holding on to things. It's being fearful. This is definitely a fearful card. This is, you know, maybe this last relationship that you had took a lot from you, materially, financially. Maybe you have been having to embody a lot of this Page of Pentacles energy to rebuild your life. You know, often when relationships break down, you know, sometimes people walk away with very little. And, you know, I know in my experience of life and friends and people that I've known that often, you know, especially if you've had children with a partner, often somebody will leave that relationship with very little because they want to make sure that their children are well looked after. So people often leave relationships and have to start again. And that could make you feel like this Four of Pentacles energy. It could make you fearful of losing what you've worked so hard to gain. But again, at the same time, this card could also mean that you're fearful of meeting somebody that will take from you again, or meeting somebody that is greedy or materialistic, you know, kind of uptight in that way. You know, the Queen of Wands is not a materialistic person. She wants to get out there and enjoy life. But this man here in the Four of Pentacles wants to sit in his four walls, holding on to everything that he's got. It's a very rigid energy. It's like he's shut out everyone and everybody around him, and he is overly focused on his material world. So I don't know how that resonates for you with your fears and worries. As I said, my feeling is that you may well have felt that your good nature was taken advantage of in the past, that you may have been used or have lost a lot of stability and security when your last relationship ended. And like I said, you're having to start again. You're having to relearn and rebuild and start again. So card number 5 is your external influences. Your external influences. So this is people and situations around you that you don't have a lot of control over, but that still may be affecting you and your life. So we have the 5 of Wands. So conflict, strife, quarrels, disagreement, tension, anxiety, not pulling together, squabbling. So it could be that around you at this time that you have people in your life that are not working with you over this situation, people that are making trouble. There could just be a general air of tension. I mean, for some of you, this could be quite detrimental. For some of you, this might not be very much at all. But there is a tension here in the air, isn't there? there's a fear and there's a tension around things feeling what's the word I want to say? There's just an anxiety. I think that's what I want to say. There is an anxiety, and I feel that generally in these cards there is an anxiety around meeting somebody new, about allowing somebody new into your life. I can see here with the Queen of Wands that it's something that you would really, really like, but there's definitely fears and anxieties. I feel that at some point in your past, a lot was taken from you, that you lost a lot, that there was a lot of disagreements and quarrels and tensions. And I think that you're very, very fearful of that. And I feel that you're trying to stay out of the way of that as much as you can. So card number 6 is what you need to do. This is what you need to do kind of right now. Not this very moment in time, but, you know, in the present. What do you need to do to help resolve this situation for you, to help you to move forward? What do you need to do? And we've got the 10 of Pentacles. This is a lovely card. So this card talks of family. This is a card of wealth again, isn't it? This is a card of investments. You know, there's a huge amount of security and stability in this card, and things that have been worked at over a long period of time. You know, this man here is a sort of granddad figure. This could be the mum and dad and the children with their pets and their home. The sun is shining. They've got beautiful homes. So these are things that have been worked at over a long period of time. This has not happened overnight. This has come about through hard work. Yeah. It's come about through hard work and family influences. Yeah. The sharing, perhaps, of things, working together, looking out for each other. It's a far cry from here, from the 4 of Pentacles, isn't it? A far cry from that kind of rigid and fearful energy. Right, let's carry on. So card number 7 is the near future. So this is sort of now and the next 3 months or so, really. This is the near future of possibilities, of things to look out for. And we have the 9 of Cups. So this is a big change, isn't it? This is a big change from the other energy that we have here on the table. This is, you know, it's often described as the wish card, isn't it? This is emotional fulfillment. This is abundance. Yeah. Sometimes this card could be described as a smugness, or a kind of taking things for granted, or being proud. But really, this is a wish fulfillment card, and I find it really interesting, actually, that it's underneath the Queen of Wands, because this is your hopes and dreams. So, you know, it's a big change in energy. I feel that over the next 2 or 3 months, there could be a big change in your emotional state, how you feel about yourself, how you feel about the world, about other people. I think that you could be feeling generally much more optimistic and positive about any new relationship, or just even allowing somebody into your life, a person like this Queen of Wands energy here. So for the next, for the longer term, card number 8 is sort of the next 3 to 6 months. So a bit longer term, the energy surrounding that for you. And we have the Death card, which is transformation, isn't it? It's big, big changes, endings, beginnings, endings of cycles, letting go of things, renewals, you know, maybe making these new memories, leaving behind the toxicity and the hurt and the fears that you have from the past. It's actually really nice to see this progression here. As we're going, the cards are becoming much more positive, aren't they? You know, the Death card is not something to be afraid of at all. It's like a shedding of a skin, isn't it? It's a transformation. And it's something that we all go through in many, many different ways at many different times. The cycles of our lives are endless, aren't they? Yeah. So that's a really nice card to see there for your longer term future. That I think that whatever is happening over the next, from now, over the next 6 months, really, I see this big transformational sort of process in you. You could be re-establishing some bonds with your family. And I think you're just definitely just going to feel much better about your situation. So what do we have? And wow, look at this. This is the outcome. This is the outcome. And this is the bottom of the deck, the Moon. So can you see what I mean? Actually, let's put the outcome down here, because I want that to follow on from the Death card. So that's the outcome. So let's go over these cards again just briefly. So we have past influences, the Two of Wands. So this is a new start. This is looking to the horizon, forging a new path ahead for yourself, having some choices, having to make some plans, thinking about what your next steps are, where you're going next, and whether this was forced upon you or it was a choice that you had to make yourself. I don't feel that it was something that left you in a terrible depressive state. You know, as I said, this man here's got his head up, he's looking ahead of himself, he's making plans, he's weighing things up. So that was something that you had to do in the past. And I feel that, like, looking at these things, that was perhaps leaving an old relationship that perhaps was quite toxic for you, that didn't work out. Something where you may have felt used or taken for granted or abused even in some way or another, because obviously if your partner had any kind of narcissistic tendencies, your needs would have not been a priority for them, would they? So yeah, I feel that you you made the most of that opportunity really to plan ahead for the future. And then as we move into the present, we have the Page of Pentacles, which again is planning really for a new future, I think here really. This is somebody who's sort of knuckled down with the practical in life, you know, trying to establish a firm foundation for yourself, you know, to maybe have to learn something new. It could be that you've had to get a new job. You know, that's entirely possible. You might have gone back to studying and learning something new. And I think you've had to kind of learn to rely on yourself again. So your hopes and dreams at this time are the Queen of Wands, which is just beautiful. If this is somebody that you're hoping to be or somebody that you're hoping to meet, this is a very magical and creative person. It's a beautiful card. So that's great. Card number 4 is your fears and worries, which, as I said, is about money, isn't it? It's about security. It's about hanging on to what you've got. It feels that what you have is very precious, and it feels that you might be very fearful of losing that. You may have lost this security in the past to this old toxic relationship, and like I said, you may be having to start again. So these things would be precious, but it's obviously very, very important that these things don't take over. You know, you can see here in the Four of Pentacles, this man is not a happy man. You know, he could be called a miser. He's shut everybody out. It's like he's built a castle around himself and he's not letting anybody in. And if you're trying to manifest a new relationship for yourself, that's not going to work, is it? So, you know, I don't know whether this is how you feel about your own finances, your own state of being materially in the world, or whether this is something that you fear because this is what you had in your past relationship. It could be that your previous partner had a lot of these Four of Pentacle qualities and that they were quite mean. And so maybe you fear meeting somebody like that again. I'm not sure. Card number 5 is external influences, and obviously this is tension. This is competition, tension, conflict, disagreements, squabbles. They could be anything from just the normal day-to-day squabbles to somebody who's really trying to undermine your progress in life. And, you know, that could be at work, that could be in your personal life, but there is obviously this influence around you at the moment, so that's something to take note of. Card number 6 is what you need to do. And perhaps that's to rely on your family, to spend time with your family, to certainly not be like him over here, but to spend time with your family, you know, to take inspiration from the people around you, to share what you have and allow others to share with you, to feel part of a community again. I think that that's very, very important here, actually. To enjoy the people around you in whatever shape they take. You know, it doesn't have to be grandchildren, and, you know, you can find your sense of community in all sorts of places. But I think this card is saying that in order for things to feel better and for you to move forwards towards your goal, that you need to not isolate yourself, that you should spend time with other like-minded people. The near future, this was sort of the next 3 months or so, was the Nine of Cups. And like I said, this could be the wish fulfillment card. It feels like here there is a change, isn't there? That the energies start to change. Once you start to do what you need to do, I think that the energies will start to change and follow you. And there is a great deal of emotional fulfillment and contentment around the Nine of Cups card. And then as we move into a slightly longer term future over maybe the next 6 months or so, we have a great deal of transformation in the Death card, like a shedding of your skin, of maybe finally being able to let go of all of this negativity that we saw here in the girl with the snake. And this missing you, this looking at your photos, feeling nostalgic, perhaps over the next 6 months, as you start to feel better within yourself, as you start to build better relationships, you start to feel more contented within yourself, I think that those things will start to leave you. And then the outcome for you, we've got the 10 of Cups, which is just gorgeous. I mean, what a beautiful card to end on. It's happiness, isn't it? It's blissful, it's harmony, union, all the good things really that most of us want in life. You know, whether that happiness for you looks like a husband and a wife and children and the home and all of that, or whatever it is, whatever that happiness means to you, whatever position you're in your life. So whatever that fulfillment of your emotions looks like to you, it's there. The outcome is there for you. We've got the bluebirds, the rainbow, all of these cups, all with different colour stones that represent different aspects of emotional pleasure and fulfillment and joy. It's all there. It's all there for the taking, I think. I think that you will be able to make some new memories looking at these cards, which is what we had here, isn't it, in the photograph? That I think you're going to stop looking at these old photographs and you're going to start taking some new ones. And then at the bottom of the deck, we have the Moon card, and with the High Priestess underneath it, actually. So this is telling me that some of these things are not as bad as you think. I think that some of your fears and worries here are things of your subconscious. They're things of the past. They're things that you're overthinking and fretting about. You know, this is a card of the subconscious. It can have quite a deceptive energy. I'm just struggling with getting my words out. What do I want to say? It's a card of fear, isn't it? With this card you can be fearful, so things stay in your subconscious. You know, you don't want to bring them out into your consciousness because you're fearful of these things. And I think that that's a big part of what's holding you back here, actually, or what has been holding you back is your subconscious fears. You know, I think that this relationship from the past had such a detrimental effect on you that it is holding you back. It's making you perhaps not see things clearly, to be living in your imagination, to be living in more of a sort of fantasy world. and not really seeing the reality of what is around you. It's interesting, isn't it? The High Priestess there with the moon, and we've got the moon again. Yeah. Whereas what your hopes and dreams were the Queen of Wands, which is fire, isn't it? There's sunshine there. Yeah. You need to come out of this. You need to come out of this place here. You need to stop worrying about tension and anxiety, and you need to get out into the world. I think that that's what's going to change things for you, is finding your own place in society, finding your own space in your community, feeling secure within your family, whatever family means to you. Yeah. Like I said, these cards get better and better as they go. And the last card here, the Ten of Cups, I mean, who could hope for a more beautiful card to end a reading on the outcome for you, for when will you find love? It's there. It's there in the not too distant future. There are new memories to be made here. So, I hope that resonated for some of you. I'm sorry that they're quite difficult energies, some of those, but it's a very positive reading. And I wish you all the best with it, I really do. So please do say hello and leave me some feedback, and I will see you all again soon.